This after Dr. Michael Baden, a former chief medical examiner of New York City, who was hired by Sandra's family, said that Sandra did not die by hanging, and that her cause of death was strangulation, and that the manner of her death was homicide. He pointed to the injuries on Sandra, including a fracture to the hyoid bone on her neck, which he stated is very uncommon in self-inflicted hangings. However, it is seen in about half of the homicides by strangulations of women. Now, in response to his claims, the Stoughton Police Chief released a statement saying, "I was profoundly disturbed and troubled by what I read. While I'm not a trained medical examiner, I am not qualified to draw any direct conclusions. The findings certainly warrant further examination at the highest level. As always, we will continue to assist with any effort to ensure that truth and justice prevail." Or will they? Because listen to this. In October of 2024, records came out showing that a visitor log from the medical examiner's office listed a meeting between law enforcement officials, Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Mindy Hull, and Dr. Maria Capo Martinez, the same pathologist who originally ruled Sandra's death as a... Now, from what I could find, it's not exactly clear who those law enforcement officials were, but that meeting? I mean, yeah, it definitely raises some eyebrows and some questions. And I'll be honest, it feels like it could be a little less, ensuring truth and justice, and a little more like trying to get ahead of the ruling on her death. Even now, the medical examiner's office still stands by its finding that Sandra's death was self-inflicted, and they have refused to change the manner of death on her certificate, even after multiple independent experts continue to say otherwise and that this was clearly a homicide. And it's turned into what some reporters are kind of calling this battle of the experts. Dr. Capo Martinez continues to insist that it was self-inflicted, while Dr. Michael Baden and Dr. William Smock, who was the one who reviewed the case for the FBI, by the way, both concluded that Sandra was the victim of homicidal strangulation. On August 28, 2024, news broke that Matthew Farwell had been indicted for Sandra's murder, and he had been taken into custody. Now, the indictment, which was filed the day prior, was released, and it showed that Matthew was charged with one count of killing a witness or victim. It went into very great detail about the relationship that Matthew and Sandra had over the years, and it specifically said, Matthew, quote, used his authority and access to groom and then 15-year-old Sandra. Matthew continued to assault her in a sexual way after Sandra became an adult. And it continues to say that he continued to engage in an extramarital sexual relationship with Sandra until he killed her on February 1st, 2021. So a press conference that was held by the U.S. Department of Justice just a couple hours after this indictment was announced gave even more details about the motive and even the planning that Matthew had done leading up to the day that he killed Sandra.
Less than 2 weeks before she was found dead, someone called the Stoughton Police Department and disclosed that Matthew Farwell had had a relationship with Sandra Birchmore. And when Mr. Farwell learned about that call, he became visibly angry. Mr. Farwell, it is alleged in these court papers, started to lose his patience, lose his temper, and the 6'4" Mr. Farwell started to be physically violent with 4'10" Sandra Birchmore. And Sandra Birchmore told her friends that Mr. Farwell had pushed her and shoved her and put her in a chokehold. She was scared. And during that same time, Mr. Farwell was allegedly planning Sandra Birchmore's murder. For the first time, he requested a key to her apartment. And she told friends that he was oddly inspecting the apartment and looking at the closet, including the closet that she was found dead in front of. And then it all came to a head on February 1st, 2021. Mr. Farwell went over to her apartment that evening, and he strangled Sandra Birchmore to death. That's the allegation in this case. And he used his knowledge and experience as a law enforcement officer to stage her death. He allegedly attempted to cover his tracks to literally try and get away with murder. And he almost did, until today.